Nice to meet you.
Well, shall we sit down?
Sure.
You take the red or the white or the
Take
green? The green. Oh, okay. All right. So Joyce, I was 2 weeks ago. I was talking with a lot of CIOs. Any CIO today here? You know, CIO, the guy that owns the company and the computers in a company. No CIO. Okay. They want to take over in companies. People with technology, they want to take over the whole company. Is that happening sooner or later or not?
Well, I think CIO or CTO, Chief Information Officer, or Chief Technology Officers are playing increasingly critical roles in large companies. You typically see smaller companies have CTOs that help drive architectural decision and how to build the products. But in large companies, yesterday we heard a speaker from Coca-Cola talking about every industry is being disrupted by technology. So from a CEO perspective, they want to have an advisor to help them understand how could I use my technology to be a competitive advantage.
Now, disruptive. How do you recognize disruption? Where does your alarm bell ring when you see disruption in an area?
Yeah, so, there are different schools of thought disruption, right? And typically people think about disruption from larger companies as bad, right? It's going to take away my market share. It's going to disrupt my business workflow and business opportunity. But nowadays, I think disruption is, from my perspective, I lead emerging technologies at Thomson Reuters, is emerging technologies that are going to help our company to better serve our customer or to reduce costs. Right? And those are significant, complex challenges. And if any of those applications or technology can help address that, that's good disruption, right? Because
so
companies
actually,
need
you
change.
are with Thomson Reuters. You are selling disruption to your clients because they want to know first about it, right? They can either avoid it or embrace it, but you are there to help them sell, to help them, buy disruption news from you. What is let's say, the trends this year when it comes to disruption, as represented by your news reports?
Well, I think one of the disruption is, Tim Draper talked about blockchain, right? Distributed ledger. And if you haven't read about blockchain, you should read about blockchain. It's very nascent technology that hasn't scaled, that's not in production environment. But if you talk to all the financial services customers, they are looking at blockchain as a potential disruptive technology that could significantly help them reduce costs in the back office. From Thomson Reuters' perspective, we sell to the bank customers, so we need to be able to articulate how would that technology help them, and how would our assets be able to, in turn, help them further drive those values.
How many clients in Romania? How many clients do you have in Romania?
That's a good question. I think we have a handful. We're not doing a good job in
big
expanding.
Companies?
How
all
big
the
financial
you
services.
have to be able to access your services?
Our services are sold to enterprise customers, so typically 50,000 or more employees in the companies. So, Bank of Transylvania and EY and those companies are our clients, not necessarily SMBs.
Okay, but some of the guys here might be working for you at some point. Could they?
Or I'd be working for them.
Yeah, you are, but I don't know. I think they might be looking for a job with Thomson Reuters. What do you think makes a successful business reporter today?
Well, I think, from Thomson Reuters' perspective, there is a media side of the house, a news agency, right? And, from a business report perspective, you have to be able to articulate a lot of the topics in depth. And I see a lot of, technology writers today talking about technology at a very high level. They don't really understand the value proposition.
So if you only have a blog and you have, 2,000 people reading the blog today, is that going to qualify as a future business journalist or not?
Probably not. I don't know. Yeah, it depends on your audience. I mean, from Reuters, it's objective news. Let's take a lot of, we heard about artificial intelligence, right? We heard about machine learning. We heard about blockchain. We heard about automation. I mean, what are those technologies exactly, right? Coming from a CIO perspective and CTO perspective, and be able to translate to the business side. And part of my role with the emerging technologies, we translate that in very simple terms, right? Our goal is you have to be able to explain what machine learning is to a 3-year-old. If you can do that,
is
then
that the mental age of the CEO? 3-year-old?
No, but you know, these
it's
are
like 5 or what?
Technology is an enabler, right? It's a means to an end, and you know, it comes back to we have a lot of technical talents here in Cluj, and it's great that you can do that. But you know, technology is a means to an end. Is to build things that can enable businesses, and for business owners to adopt technology, they have to understand what are the compelling components of the technology, and why should I adopt machine learning when there's automation.
Yeah, by the way, I remember 2 years ago, there was a headline. I mean, it wasn't your headline, it was everyone's headline. This breakthrough technology is going to change everything from military to architecture to movie making in Hollywood, releasing creativity, empowering people in avionics, in automation, in everything. Can anyone guess the technology? Because it was really kind of panacea. So it was good for everything, from creation of content to architecture to whatnot, killing people on the battlefield. Everything was supposed to be changed by that technology. Anyone can recognize it by the, from my portrait? No? No? There's a hint, you're not using it. You were supposed to have it on you at this very moment, all of you, and you don't. It was Google Glass. Oh yeah, that's how it fell. With a big bang, or rather with a subdued one. Yeah. So disruption sometimes is just a byword for marketing, really, in this case.
I mean, technology takes time, right? And so Google Glass came, Google Glass went, but then if you go to Boeing and GE, a lot of the companies, people found use cases, right? So for a lot of times for, you know, these emerging nascent technology, that when we say use case is very important, right? You're not there to build for the sake of building. And I think Google Glass came out as a really cool gadget that people can have. But you really have to identify what the use case is. You know, who are your target customers? Are you building for enterprise, somebody, a factory worker at Boeing, right, or at BMW, who can wear the glasses, see the diagrams without using their hands, and be able to become more efficient, right? And that is value add. And if you can articulate that with Google Glass, then you know that's actually technology is bringing power into an industry versus just as a gadget. So you know, back to a point about writing about technology, it's great to regurgitate about what the technology is, but be able to really pinpoint what the technology can do for specific industry, for specific user. Whether you're a founder or reporter, whoever, it's really important.
Now, if I want to know the next 3 big trends in, call centers, right? And I want to go to Thomson Reuters, of course, to get a special report on that thing. How much is that going to cost me?
Well, I'm not a journalist, so on the Reuters side, I think we provide objective news to other publishers. So, I think it's about really. I think Reuters pick up news from the sources, right? And so, if you're looking to kind of cover call centers and what technology are there, we have technology reporters and be able to articulate the facts and go to the sources.
Now, we have a large community of programmers and people in the technology world in Romania. And up until maybe 4 or 5 years ago, most of us were happy to see call centers and programmers working for big companies in America. We were so happy to toil for Silicon Valley. Now, we want to be Silicon Valley. I mean, half of the guys here I know, they want to be a part of the new Silicon Valley that's going to happen here. Hopefully, and not in Bucharest because it's too much traffic, really. It's good. I'm trying to be positive. So, what do they need to be the next Silicon Valley hotshots?
Yeah. So I was here last year, and people who came last year saw my talk, and my talk was about building ecosystem and what an ecosystem is composed of. And at the end of my talk, I had to ask to all the audience, which is, how do you play a part to build an ecosystem, right? And so an ecosystem is not just about individuals like you, the entrepreneurs, the developers. And the ecosystem is about the universities, the research, the government grants, the capital from the VCs, the accelerators, and the startups themselves, right? And entrepreneurs. So, that's an ecosystem. And, Silicon Valley is obviously a very mature one. And you have on the East Coast where MIT is, right? In Boston, MIT, you have that ecosystem. Again, it's universities, entrepreneurs, startups, governments. And if I look at Cluj, you have all the ingredients, right? A lot of people talk about here
Except
today.
for the government.
Well, I think that's what's lacking, right? Is that, you can't just be the entrepreneur pushing it for yourself. You need to have, if I look at the examples in the US, right? People who have been to Atlanta, people who have been to St. Louis, Missouri, those are emerging tech hubs, if you will. They have the same aspiration as Cluj. They have university with tech talent. They have companies that have been doing outsourcing work, right, for other industries in the US. So how do you build an ecosystem out of a great university town with great talent? You need private funding. You need government, right? You need government, chamber of commerce, actually promoting what the entrepreneurs are doing, connecting the entrepreneurs to other parts of the world through other chamber of commerce. You need mentors, right? People today who pitch at the startups. Those individuals should become advisors to the future entrepreneurs here. You have to become the mentors of the next generation. So, my ask last year was that everybody should figure out what they need to do as action to help become ambassador of Cluj. Right? I came 2 years, I saw the great talent here, I saw the different components, but when I was talking to people in the US about coming here, people didn't know about Cluj. Right? So
but I hope you told them about Dracula, did you?
No, I told them about
the famous
I
medieval...
told them how many university students here. I told them about the caliber of the talent. So bringing Cluj as a tech hub at Silicon Valley is in itself a startup mission. Right? Everyone here should feel a stake in becoming ambassador of Cluj and brand the community with the different dimensions that it brings to the table today. And it also involves, government for sure.
What I saw in terms of the disruption, in terms of technology, I see more people looking abroad. I used to see more people looking abroad to see what's happening there and trying to bring it over here. There weren't as many people, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago when I was covering really careful this IT area. There weren't as many people trying to come up with their own ideas and to sell them, well, maybe not locally only, but on a regional scale or even on a global scale. I mean, we have a few people that have tried and succeeded that, like Radu Georgescu or Bitdefender, but that's just about it. Most of the people I remember were kind of, trying to make a living in a small world that's Romania. Now it's changing. I mean, people are not looking at this market anymore with their hopes and their dreams and aspirations and their technology. Do you have any kind of advice for somebody that just wants to go global from day one?
Well, we heard a lot of great advice here today, right? I think technology has transcended borders. Technology has transcended industries. So if you are a student today, if you are a young entrepreneur, I encourage you, right, this is a great event, right, to come. And somebody, I think it was Frank, was talking about you have to hustle, right? This talk about be a hustler in the US. You just got to network. You got to network with everyone you see, talk to them what they're building. The exposure is so valuable, right? You have to be exposed to what's happening, not just here, but take a trip to Berlin, take a trip to Paris, take a trip to, US, to New York. Email me, right? Email people you met today.
Will you have time?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Ask
I'll do
Vlad. And
no,
you really kind of understand what those people are seeing in the market. Like, what are you seeing is interesting, right? How do I establish in this market? Who should I talk to? a lot of the service providers, like the law firms, accounting firms in those local markets, whether it's in the US, others, they're very interested, right, in helping the smaller companies to understand the local markets, right, because they want to build a pipeline business for the future. So take advantage of that. I think the first is kind of, that exposure. And I think second, again, to my talk last year, and somebody mentioned today about enterprise opportunities, think big, right? I mean, it's very simple. Some of the simple things. Go to Y Combinator website, right? Y Combinator website has a list of opportunities they want to see from entrepreneurs that are not being built, right? They have a request list for entrepreneurs about the kinds of products they want to fund, but they don't see as many, right? Go and look at that. There is enough talent here to build something like that. So, that would be my observation. I don't know if it's advice, but.
You were mentioning your clients in Romania, quite a few big companies. How fast do they get involved with new technology? Is the rate of absorption or adoption as high as you would hope for?
I think it's becoming faster, right? So I've always worked in larger companies, and I think larger companies see how fast the market is moving, right? Market is moving not just from a product perspective, but also from a talent perspective. So they can no longer wait. So take financial services, right? Financial services used to invest, they continue to invest a lot in technology, and some of them take the strategy of bring their technology in-house because they see that as a competitive advantage, and some of them outsource. But what you see is that a lot of these banks are starting to really trying to incorporate startup ideas and bring entrepreneurs as board advisors. And in the case of Thomson Reuters, we work with smaller companies. We talk to them, we invest in them, we partner with them, because we can learn a lot from the entrepreneurs and providing a fertile ground for those partnerships. So it's a great time for early stage companies, for entrepreneurs to really capture that market. And you have to hustle, right? And to really kind of be in front of it.
You were mentioning competition, and I kind of like the word, and you were saying that big financial companies and other companies are adopting new technology because competition forces them to. They're afraid that the other guy next door is going to do it before him. Now, that gave me an idea. What if we had two governments? Because I would love to have competition in the government. Maybe we can have two, and they can fight, so that they will adopt technology that will enable us, for instance, to pay local taxes with a credit card online, which is not happening in many jurisdictions. So what do you think about top trends in technology being adopted by the state apparatus?
That's a very interesting topic, right? And
we only have 15 seconds.
You
can curse your way out.
No, digital government is untapped.
Okay.
Digital government, whether it's in the US, I think Europe does a lot better in some ways from an infrastructure perspective, but digital government is an untapped market, right? And you look at some of the model government, right? So, a lot of people talk about Estonia. I'm going to Estonia next after Cluj, right? They established an e-residency program. They have a tremendous digital identity program. Compare that to the US, right? In the US, you fill out the same information about myself every day, everywhere.
But you have your privacy.
Not necessarily.
You don't
right? You could argue about that.
Need it, huh?
But
okay.
I think digital government, or it used to be called e-government, is on tap of market. It's a very hard problem to solve. But again, if you look at Y Combinator's list of the kinds of startup they want to help fund, if you have a good idea, one of them is in government, right? And government span from e-tax filing to better public health to better infrastructure to better education system. And how do you innovate through that?
So we're out of time. Thank you very much, Joyce.
Thank you.
Thank you all for...
Thank you.